Alright, this is the first full video of the Roosevelt Reagan channel. There's going to be a tier list. Okay, let's begin. The first one here is Calvin Coolidge. He goes up in the A tier. He goes in the A tier. Very good president. Very conservative president. Is Reagan's favorite right here. Silent Cal. Favorite of the great communicator. Ain't that something? That's quite a thing right there. Anyway, since it's Reagan's favorite, I like him. Okay, now we got his predecessor, Warren Harding. Bad. Very corrupt. Very bad. Though he did some good. So we'll actually put him in the D tier. He did some good. He undid all of Wilson's disastrous policies. Freed some of the people he arrested. Cut back on all the spending. Cut some of the taxes. Homelessness went drastically down when he was president. Although he was president very briefly. Very sleazy too. Not a good dude. Very dumb too. Self-admitted. Shouldn't have been president. Okay, Garfield. We have our own rank that says won't be ranked. Garfield. Too brief to be ranked. I'm sure he would have done great. He had potential. But we don't rank potential here. Potential's for nerds. Okay, we got John Adams. He did some good. He did some bad. We'll put him in C. Alien Sedition. Although I feel like a lot of those history YouTube videos you watch by all those guys, I won't name them because they might send their communities after me. They'll put a hit on me. So I won't be naming them. But they always make fun of John Adams because, he signed the Alien Sedition Act. Alien Sedition Act this. Alien Sedition Act that. Well, to be fair, it was a very bad law. Probably, potentially, if you ask me, worst law in American history. Attacked a founding father. Signing a law that attacked free speech is just the ultimate betrayal right there. So it is very bad. But, he did some good. Navy, good. Created the Marines, very good. Set a lot of precedents on what to do if you lose an election. Those higher up Federalists wanted John Adams to refuse the outcome so he wouldn't be president. So Thomas Jefferson wouldn't be president. But Adams refused. So it's a very good president to set right there. Good on you, John Adams. You're in the C tier. Hoover, God, man. Why was he president? Awful. F tier. Made the Depression far worse. A lot of people think he did nothing about it, but that's not true. He made it worse. Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. Raising tariffs. Tariffs really suck. Free trade is best. Because, Reagan, man, he hated tariffs. And this is one of the reasons why he hated tariffs. Because Reagan, man, so great. Love me some Reagan. He's in part of the channel for a reason. Abraham Lincoln? Well, this is easy. F tier. He attacked free speech. He was a tyrant. Just not good. Hated the South. I love me the South. Anyway, if you believe that, you are quite a guy. Because he's actually an S tier. Greatest president. Freed the slaves. Saved the country. Don't really need to explain myself here. Chester Arthur. He did some good stuff for civil service reform. Continued Garfield's work. Went against the system that created him. So good on you, Arthur. Though granted, Chinese Exclusion Act, not very good. Very racist. Don't like it. But racist back in the day wasn't that bad, because everyone was racist back then. Well, not everyone, but mostly everyone. So that's pretty bad. Anyway, so, yep, Arthur. He did a lot. I feel like they're good. Outrace the bad, so I'll land him in B tier. Taft, he may be big, he may be fat, but that's good, because he's good. Very good president. Well, it's not good being fat, but Taft was good. He never got stuck in the bathtub, dagnabbit. Never got stuck in a bathtub. That was a myth created by his political opponents to make fun of him for being fat. And he lost that way. Dagnabbit. Everyone makes fun of him being fat. They don't even want to mention he lost the weight and became Chief Justice of the United States, which he did quite well. But he also did well being the president. Very underrated. Mini Roosevelt. Well, not mini in like a literal sense, but more conservative too. So you do pretty good. James Monroe's up next. I think he is single-handedly the most underrated president in American history. Because when history nerds, bring up underrated presidents, they always talk about James K. Polk and Calvin Coolidge. They never even bring up James Monroe. That makes him even more underrated. Air of good feelings, founding father. What more do you need? Oh yeah, Monroe Doctrine too. It's pretty neat. Very influential man right here. Made Missouri a state. Oh, man, excuse me right over there. Whoops. Didn't make that one come out. Ugh. Man. Where was I? I lost my train of thought here. Alright, James Monroe. Very good. Great president. Amazing president. S tier. S tier, man. Buchanan, opposite. Horrible president. One of the worst. Very worst president. Did nothing. He sat on his you-know-what and, did nothing, man. But hey, at least he got rid of Brigham Young. That guy sucked. Rutherford Hayes, also one of the most underrated presidents in American history. Fixed all of Grant's mistakes. Wasn't a compromise candidate. He was great. Economic recovery. Civil service reform. Great stuff right there. And, the best beard out of any president. His beard is better than Lincoln's and Grant's. No beard matches Rutherford Hayes. Andrew Jackson, oh boy. I'm not a Jackson Jefferson goated, or was it Jefferson Jackson goated? One of those two. I don't know which one. He loves him some Andrew Jackson. Me personally, I don't think he's as great as he claims. He's no S tier. But he did a lot of good. Very influential man. Did a lot of good things. But spoil system and Indian removal, very bad. But the Indian removal, by his time standards, not really that big a deal. And the worst of it was after he left office. And the Panic of 1837, again, when he left office. So I feel like those things don't really apply to Jackson as much as people say. I feel like most of the blame should go to Martin Van Buren. But Jackson still introduced the spoil system. I don't care how much he wanted buddies he could trust. What it led to pure corruption and a supposed candidate of anti-corruption. Not very good right there. But, he still did good. It paid off the debt. That's great. Really like that. William Henry Harrison, he'll be going in the won't be ranked. He died in a month. There's nothing to rank with him. LBJ led us through Vietnam. One of the worst things ever. Man, LBJ. We would have had a perfect win streak of winning wars. It was ruined by LBJ, man. His Great Society really sucked, too. And Reagan, one of the main things that turned him to Republican was how bad LBJ was. So I guess I get that. He gave us Reagan, so God bless you, LBJ. He's not in heaven, but, he did a lot of bad things to a lot of people. He probably had Kennedy whacked, but we won't get into that. Martin Van Buren, again, very sucky president right there. A lot of stuff people dog on Jackson for, Trail of Tears, back in 1837. It was mainly him. He ruined Jackson, if you ask me. Very bad president. If he wasn't president, we would have been way better off. Jackson might as well just ran for a third term. We would have been way better off. I wouldn't take anyone over Martin Van Buren. I would have voted for a rock over Martin Van Buren. FDR. I'm not as big on FDR. Reagan may have loved him, but I don't love his policies. Bad policies right there. But very effective. And it's FDR. Very legendary figure. Can't rank him too low or else going to make people mad. But, Japanese internment, very big government, downright, almost to the point of tyranny. Ran for 4 terms, abandoned civil rights, really strayed us off the path of our founding fathers, which is not good. Andrew Johnson, worst president ever, man. Racist, insanely racist. Even by his own time standards, he was racist. Abandoned all what Lincoln wanted. was impeached for a really good reason. Like, they wanted him out for a real good reason. He ruined everything, man. The next 100 years of racism in the South with Jim Crow, it was all him, man. Very bad. Very icky. No good. McKinley? Now, McKinley. Now, that's a good president right there. You know, economic recovery. You know, America becoming a world power. You know, his best decision was hiring Theodore Roosevelt as his vice president. That was his best decision right there. You know, just very good president. Yeah, you know, he had some flaws, but, you know, overall good president. James Madison. Okay. Right. All right. James Madison. White House burned down, but father of the Constitution. Well, not while he was president. But he's a founding father. I have a natural bias towards our founding fathers. They are some of the greatest men of all time. They invented America, and I love them. They're great, very great man, that Madison. Very short man with a lot of big influence. You know, just great man. I love me some founding fathers, and I love me some James Madison. Woodrow Wilson. Oh, dear God. Moved LBJ accidentally. Back to D tier, you go. Woodrow Wilson. When I said Andrew Johnson was the worst president, it's really Woodrow Wilson. Big government tyranny, just bad policies, high debt, high inflation, high unemployment, high homelessness. Just everything went wrong. Oh, lies and manipulation and insane racism. Oh my God, guys. Most people were racist back then, but nothing compared to Woodrow Wilson, man. He was so racist, man. It was unbelievable how racist this guy was. This man is just incredibly racist. Even by his own time standards, he was racist. People would complain that he was too racist. He loved movies about the Klan, for God's sake. He brought it back. Like, what the hell? Thomas Jefferson? Okay, you know, there's this YouTuber I watched, you know, my brother, Jackson Jefferson Golded. Although I'm not as big on Andrew Jackson as this, but I can agree that Thomas Jefferson was an amazing president. Founding father, wrote the Declaration of Independence. Not while he was president, so I won't be counting that. But even as president, he did real good. You know, he cut taxes. Reagan cuts taxes, so he's got to be good. Got rid of the awful whiskey tax. Got rid of the awful alien sedition. Doubled the size of the country. You know, he just did good. Everything he did, it was good, except the embargo. But that was a big deal. Big whoop. Nothing bad. What's the big whoop about that one? It was fine. It wasn't that bad. You know, the disasters came much later after that one. So not even while Jefferson was president. You know, advocate for small government and liberty. I love liberty. Liberty is my favorite thing. And you know, Jefferson embodied that. So good on you, Jefferson. You know, Jackson Jefferson Golded, he has some interesting opinions, but his opinion on Thomas Jefferson is good. Grant, oh, great civil rights hero right there. But too corrupt and bad economy. So he'll go in B tier. But, you know, it's Grant. He's a legend. Same with Jimmy Carter. Sure, he was not the best president, but he did deregulation. And that's good. Reagan did some deregulation. So he's a better president than John Adams. You know what? I'll put him in the... You know what? He's better than FDR. That's right. Oh, God. Reagan may have loved FDR, but I don't. Jimmy Carter, man. He's great. He's really great. He made it to 100. What a guy. What a guy. Grover Cleveland? His first term was real good. Second term, not so much. But if this is first term Cleveland, he's got to go in the A tier. You know, he was like Calvin Coolidge before Calvin Coolidge. And I like Calvin Coolidge. But, you know, he wasn't as good as Calvin Coolidge. Franklin Pierce. Oh, God, what a disaster. But, hey, at least he cut the debt, so that's pretty good. James K. Polk, he kept all his promises. What an honest, effective guy right there. Double the size of the country. Like, very effective president. Probably the most effective president in American history. It's a miracle how effective he was. Like, it's great. James K. Polk's great. The only president that was Speaker of the House. That's a feat right there. Grover Cleveland, second term. I like to call him Groomer Cleveland because he was a groomer. So D tier. And also his second term went like really bad. Like really bad. John Quincy Adams, the corrupt Barker was pretty corrupt right there. He really shouldn't have been president. Henry Clay just used his influence as Speaker of the House just so he could make Quincy Adams the president because he didn't like any of the other candidates. And I don't hate this guy as much as Jackson Jefferson Goated does. But and I wouldn't even have voted for Andrew Jackson. I would have voted for William Henry Harris Crawford. Thomas Jefferson liked that guy. I would have voted for him. There's all this drama surrounding everyone else but him, man. He's just a calm guy. Very talented man right there. Donald Trump. We won't be ranking him. Too modern. Richard Nixon. D tier. Corruption. Bad economy. No gold standard. Bad. Very bad president. Bad foreign policy, too. Bombing people. And lying about Vietnam. Very bad president. Thank God Forrest Gump ratted him out. Joe Biden. Also won't be ranked. Milton Fillmore. Jackson Jefferson Goated may like this guy. And I get it. He looks like Alec Baldwin. It's like Alec Baldwin. I mean, I haven't even watched a single Alec Baldwin movie. So I don't really care much. Again, very bad president. Fugitive Slave Act, very bad. Very, very bad. Gerald Ford. Again, Jackson Jefferson Goated also really likes Gerald Ford. I do too. Gerald Ford is great. Great president right there. The American spirit was being drowned in Watergate, and Gerald Ford was the lifeguard on duty, and he saved us. We should have kept him. Sure, Jimmy Carter was a real good president, but Gerald Ford was better. We should have kept Ford. And sure, he ran against Reagan. But, he agreed with Reagan 80% of the time. So that makes him an 80% friend rather than a 20% enemy. Benjamin Harrison sucked. D tier. Zachary Taylor. Love Zachary Taylor. Really admirable guy. Sure, he wasn't there long, but he did real good things. He created the Department of the Interior, something John Quincy Adams never could. He coined the term First Lady. Sure, that doesn't have much influence, but hey, it's something. He made California a free state and was really prepared to go in there and beat up all those secessionists. He could have been just like Lincoln. Then he died. Unless there's other reasons I like Zachary Taylor, but those are like other reasons. But as of now, Zachary Taylor, B tier. Pretty good. Had a lot of potential. And he showed more of that potential more than the other one, so we will be ranking him. Obama won't be ranked. Obama, very controversial figure, just like all the other ones I won't be ranking. Too modern. Oh, Theodore Roosevelt. This is the Roosevelt-Reagan channel, so you know where he's going. Sure, he was very fond of big government, and I ain't too fond of big government, but Theodore Roosevelt made it work. Because he's just great. He protected the food and drugs of all Americans. He created the Panama Canal. He did everything great. He had a fighting spirit, and it was just main man. Great president. Potentially one of the he's on Rushmore for a very good reason. Lincoln saved the country. Jefferson and Washington created the country. Theodore Roosevelt made it a big deal. John Tyler, C tier. Sure, he joined the Confederacy, but that wasn't while he was president. So most of the hate is pretty unfair. He wasn't one of the worst presidents. He was far from the best too. He's just mid. I like Ike. A tier. W. I like W. Not because he was a good president. He was far from it, but he's a very funny guy. And only the fact you laugh at him. You don't laugh with him. He's like a delightful dummy that really shouldn't have been president. He's my main man, but he was an awful president. So we will be ranking. He may be a modern one, but we'll be ranking him here. He was awful. A lot of consensus that he was awful. Both our modern political people agree that he was bad. He hired Dick Cheney, for God's sake. So we'll be putting him in the D tier. And the D stands for W. George Washington. Well, this is easy. This is like the easiest one here. God. Truman. A tier. Bill Clinton. Where do I want to put Bill Clinton? Bill Clinton. He balanced budget. Good conservative, economic conservative policies. But he raised taxes. And he was a bit of a sleazebag. Very dirty, bad person. Diddling his interns. And potentially being on the you-know-what island. But hey, his nickname is Bubba. And that's the character in Forrest Gump. I love me some Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is like my favorite movie. And not only is it my favorite movie, it's the best movie. You know that one. I'm sure you know that. Everyone knows that Forrest Gump is the best movie. Sure, there's some that disagree, but it's the best. But we'll be putting Bill Clinton in the B tier. The B stands for Bubba. George H.W. Bush? No new taxes. Yeah, right. Gulf War. Well, Gulf War went pretty good, not gonna lie. Little recession while he was president. Not very good. Very disappointing follow-up to Ronald Reagan. JFK. I know a lot of people that love JFK. People, when he got assassinated, there's people crying. People were put altars with his face, pictures of his face on it. Man, these people went nuts after he died. Maybe for good reason. He was a very charismatic guy, young, really got cut short. A lot of potential as president. He saved the world from nuclear disaster. Granted, he cost it in the first place, but hey, at least he managed to end it. Good speaker, really great communicator. Well, granted, there's only one great communicator. And he met the All-American football team, brought them to the White House, shook all their hands, and asked them how it felt to be an All-American. Most of them would say, oh, it was an honor, typical stuff like that. But one of them told him he had to pee after drinking 15 Dr. Peppers. Ain't that something? JFK, he didn't really do all that much as president. He got cut too short. But yeah, pretend. He cut taxes. I like tax cuts. Tax cuts are great. No matter what you say, old Hickory. Yeah, I know you're going to be watching this one day. But I love me some tax cuts. So we'll be putting him in the B tier. Now, what's that phrase? You save the best for last? Well, Ronald Reagan isn't the best. In terms of being a president. But then again, he kind of was. Ronald Reagan, man. He's the great communicator. He ended the Cold War. He ended the Great Recession under Jimmy Carter and Gerald Ford. Something they never could have done. But he did it. He was charismatic. Great character. Just, awesome tax cuts. And, just an awesome dude. He's a real American, brother. A lot of people say Hulk Hogan is a real American. No, it's Ronald Reagan. He's just a real American. Everything was so great in the 80s. Great movies. Everything was just doing better. Every business was booming. Like wrestling, boxing, everything was better in the 80s. We should go back to the 80s, man. I miss the 80s. We had great video games like Pac-Man. Now we have modern crap like Fortnite or whatever the kids like these days. But no. The real good classics is with Pac-Man. The 80s, man. We need to go back. We need to go back to Reaganism. I watched a tier list where they said we need to go back to Trumpism. No. Instead of Reaganism. No. Reaganism is exactly what we need to go back to. If we can't go back to the ways of the Founding Fathers, we're going to have to... The best we can get is Reaganism. And if we go back to Reaganism, we will be the most powerful nation in the world again. We will be better off than we were 4 years ago. It will be easier to buy things again. America will truly be great again if we go back to Reaganism. And all those modern YouTube historians that hate on Reagan, saying he created income inequality, or what else do they say? Oh, that war on drugs. Okay, maybe that's a little more fair than the other ones. And economic mobility went down. Oh, he created generational poverty. Oh, he was just your kind grandpa that accidentally burned the house down. No, he was none of those things. He was a great man, a great president. Everything this man did was great. Great communicator, too. Teflon Ron right here. Oh, right. Oh, wait. I forgot about Iran-Contra. Okay, Iran-Contra was a little shady, but that was George H.W. Bush and Ollie North. Reagan had nothing to do with it. Reagan was totally innocent because he's a man of integrity and good character. Okay, let's rank him now. My little rant over there. It's over. We'll put him here. So concludes the Roosevelt-Reagan tier list. Is there anything else I can add to this? Anyway, well, that's Roosevelt-Reagan. Watch Forrest Gump and love Reagan.